a small fence. A cool morning. The whole family stands in front of an empty patch of yard. Dad pulls out a measuring tape to check the spacing. Mom marks the spots with white chalk. Sister and little brother line up the short wooden posts. Dad grabs a hammer and drives in the first post. Thud, thud. Firm and steady. Mom holds the post, checking the balance by eye. She nods to signal it's good. Sister passes over a wooden plank. Little brother runs back and forth, handing over nails. Thud! The post tilts slightly. Mom raises her hand to stop. The family steps back to look. Dad pulls the post out and adjusts it. Sister holds one end. Mom steadies it. Dad hammers again. Their rhythm becomes steady. The fence grows section by section. The fence is complete. Little brother taps a post lightly. Tap, tap. Mom, Dad, and Sister smile with pride. Forgot the kid. Morning at home. Mom grabs her keys and bag, checks the clock, running late. She gestures to the kid. School time. Mom walks out the door, carrying the child's backpack. Inside, the kid is still putting on shoes. The door closes. The kid looks up, frozen in place. The kid walks to the window and watches Mom's car drive away. He scratches his head, then shrugs and sits on the couch, calmly playing with a toy. Outside the school, Mom parks the car and turns to the back seat. Empty. Mom freezes. Mom looks at the backpack, looks at the empty seat, looks at her phone. Eyes widen. Panic. She quickly turns the car around. Mom rushes inside and swings the door open. The kid is on the couch, happily eating a snack/playing. They stare at each other for a second. Mom exhales in relief and hugs the kid tightly. The kid pats Mom's back like, "It's okay." Mom carries the kid outside, then double-checks the back seat before closing the door. The simple fishing rod. Quiet. Lakeside/riverside. Dad arrives with a fancy fishing rod, tackle box, and folding chair. Son stands beside him, empty-handed, watching curiously. Dad casts the line confidently. The float sits on the water, perfectly still. Dad waits, checks his watch, sighs softly. The son looks around, finds a tree branch, ties a simple string to it, adds a tiny hook, drops it into the water, just for fun. Dad doesn't notice. The string suddenly tugs hard. The son's eyes widen. He pulls up the branch. A fish! The son freezes for a moment, then grins proudly. Dad turns around, looks at the fish, looks at his expensive fishing rod, looks at the stick. Dad bursts out laughing, shaking his head in disbelief. Dad pats the son's head proudly. They sit side by side, watching the water together. The fish swims calmly in a small bucket. The secret seed. Mom, Bluey, and Bingo stroll together. The kids run ahead while Mom walks behind, smiling. Bingo suddenly stops and looks down. She picks up a tiny seed from the ground. Bluey leans in, curious. Mom gestures for them to keep walking. Bingo looks at the seed, then quietly closes her paw around it. Back at home. Mom turns away to get some water. Bingo looks left, right, sneaks to a flower pot, garden corner, digs a small hole, hides the seed, quickly covers it with soil. Bluey stands nearby, acting like a serious lookout. One day, Mom tidies the garden. Bingo rushes over. Too late. Mom bends down and sees a small flower blooming. Her eyes widen in surprise. Bingo stands behind her, smiling shyly. Mom turns around and gently pats Bingo's head. Bluey claps happily. The three sit together, watching the flower sway in the breeze. Where are my glasses? Dad squints at a newspaper/phone, bringing it very close to his face. He looks around suddenly. His glasses are missing. Dad gestures urgently. I can't find my glasses. Mom and the kids look up and immediately stand. Quick montage. Dad bends down to search the couch, still squinting. Bluey checks under the table. Bingo opens the toy box. Mom lifts pillows and opens drawers. Everyone searches seriously. Dad picks up another pair of glasses. Sunglasses, toy glasses. Tries them on, shakes his head. The kids glance at Dad, then at each other, holding back laughter. Mom suddenly stops. She stares at Dad's head. Close up. The glasses are resting on top of Dad's head. Mom gently points upward. Dad reaches up, feels the glasses, freezes for a second, then gives a sheepish smile. The kids burst into laughter. Early to bed. Mom raises a finger and gestures. Early bedtime tonight? Dad and the kids nod seriously. The clock flips to 9 p.m. Everyone is still in the living room. The child sleeps peacefully. Dad sits upright, wide awake. Mom checks the clock, then sits back down. The clock reads 10 p.m. Dad has turned on the TV and is fully engaged. Mom sits beside him, scrolling on her phone. The child continues sleeping soundly. The clock shows 11 p.m. Dad changes TV channels. Mom smiles at her phone screen. The child shifts position slightly, still asleep. Mom looks up at the clock. Eyes widen. She looks at Dad. Dad looks back, sheepish. They both glance at the couch. The kid has been asleep forever.